Testing. Testicles. All right. Today I'm going through the first single that Better Off Blind and myself have worked on together and released since 2020. So today, the band's pretty happy with the song. At least the people that were involved in creating the song. The band's kind of reforming at the moment, but a few people it's still in the project. There is some others that are interested in the project that will possibly be contributing in the future. Anyhow, it was mostly Scott, which also sings. He did most of the writing. Like 98% of the writing. So it's pretty much his baby more than anybody's. But here we are. We're doing some final touch-ups to it today. And hopefully I'll have this thing wrapped up and ready for release by tomorrow. So all I'm going to do today is kind of hop on and off here. I'm not going to talk too much unless somebody leaves a comment. If nobody's leaving a comment, I'm just going to do my thing, let this stream out today. I may take breaks and whatnot, but I'm just going to keep this on pretty much all day and come back and forth and just document my little changes here and there and try to forget that this is even on unless somebody is to comment. So I will leave my phone up to see if anybody's commenting, and if nobody is, I'm just going to keep doing my thing. And, come hang out. I'm going to get to work. Test real quick, make sure everything's working too. Just play through the song real quick as is. Well, before I do that, make sure this thing is not going to clip on the way to my board before it hits the compressor on my board. Try to give it a break. There we go. Low latency limiter. This chain here actually does add some color and some tonal shifts. It kind of just offsets the stereo image and the feel that is lost from the limiter. So all this processing before the limiter is to mitigate what is perceived to be lost by the limiter. From Gullfoss, just doing some shaping to the mids and all that. This high cut is to mitigate aliasing caused by saturation. Even though it's oversampled, I've tested it extensively and there's still saturation through the exciter and the limiter here. So anyhow, enough talk. I'm gonna get to playing. Well, that was a nice, smooth playthrough for 130 plus channel, mix. So, there's a lot of effects buses and buses in general. So, mix bus set up my custom mix bus system. But anyhow, leave a comment. Let me know how that's sounding to you. There's a few things that stand out to me that still need some work. I already worked a little bit on the overheads of the drums from the Steven Slate side of things. I'm using both Steven Slate and Superior. And this morning, what was still jumping out to me that hasn't jumped out to me yet, I'll show you. So I'll just solo the drums in a section. Especially with the China. China was the worst part of it. Not that section. China's over here, I think. Nope. Where the hell's the China? There we go. There's some China. And China, as Trump would say. China. Yeah, so if we open overheads of that, there's the EQ I added. Yeah, I'm adding additional. I'm not even using any of Steven Slate snares because I couldn't get anything to sound the way I wanted it. Just too processed for the way I'm trying to shape anyhow, so I had to go to Superior to reprocess, a less processed sample of drums to shape it the way I wanted anyhow. And here in the overheads, this 3.32K, if I solo it, well, I can't do that with everything soloed, but let me just turn it on and off to show what the difference. So this is going to be on. Now the same section bypassed, so off. Now, let me solo that by itself and show what I'm talking about. For those who just can't hear it, I think it takes a trained ear to really hear some of these things. So it's bypassed now. Let's solo just it. Okay. So I'm going to turn on and off the bypass. The bypass is going to start on, then I'm going to turn it off. Just watch my mouse. Now I'll solo that band to show you what I'm dipping down, almost 4.5 dB. Just nastiness. And if I was to go, focus more on the peak of that band, it becomes way more apparent. But if you narrow it too much, where you just hear the problem and pull it down and not take a little bit of what's around it down with it, there seems to be other resonances that are below and above it that begin to poke out and sound unnatural. So you kind of got to be a little wider than a lot of people show online, I find, to take out certain things. I mean, it really just depends. That's not always the case. Sometimes you could be pretty narrow with a notch, but sometimes when you don't take around the surrounding and with more of a bell curve than a notch, it just becomes funny and unnatural, which took me years to figure that out, especially with overheads and drums. But let me go ahead and narrow this and show you. Turn off the talkback mic so it don't sound funny. So back to where we were. Yeah, so notch that out. I mean, that's the peak of that bell is the problem, and then I just take down a little bit of the rest of it, and to recover a little bit of top end, make it, sizzle, have a little bit of brightness to compensate, plus a little volume to compensate overall. And that's where I landed today on fixing that. That was the first thing that jumped out to me with fresh ears this morning when I woke up. Was like, wow, there's something resonating up there I really haven't noticed. And when I did that, I went and adjusted the lead guitar parts, which on sections of the song started to jump out. Like, oh, there's the same similar resonance happening on the lead guitars, which on this guitar pan, I had this automated, or a pan man doing some, LFO automation that's consistent. I thought was cool for the song. It's just very, it's pretty narrow. It's not a very wide pan, but anyhow, had the Soothe 2 taking out some resonances. So let's play the song. Let's find a spot. So that's on. And I did these moves while listening with the mix because you can overdo Soothe very easily, and I just wanted it just to soften it a bit, and I gain compensated it as well for what the apparent loss and and volume that was important with the reduction that's happening, and I felt this was a good spot, which I may readdress a little bit, but I'm gonna play it bypassed first, and then I'm going to unbypass it. I'm gonna do the same in the mix. And yes, I started with the preset Edge Harsh because it was closest to where I was trying to, that 3.32K area. I just turned it down to that with the notch that I already had set up, and then I high passed and low passed it because I didn't want to affect the highs and lows that it was doing. So now in the mix. Subtle, just massaging it, you know what I mean? Like, just, it's so subtle. I can hear it here on the studio monitors and my Neumann headphones, which I don't know, for some reason when I'm doing live streaming and my final mix decisions after I've checked the Neumanns, I don't want to have them on. I mean, for work I have headphones on all week long. I just like to come home, not have headphones on, not have a mic in front of my face. I mean, this mic is far enough for me that, I got a 6'6" wingspan. I'm 6'2". I'm a pretty big guy. And if I can stick my arm out, I can't even touch the mic. So it's probably 2.5, 3 feet away, actually. It's pretty far away. Never took a tape measure to it, but it's a good distance from me. So I don't want nothing in my face. I just want to feel natural, as if nothing's, bothering me. So, and I'm trying to get used to live streaming and public speaking and being on YouTube. It's always just a little weird because I'm so isolated in my job all the time. I'm kind of a recluse anyhow as a human being. I am not the most sociable person because people suck. But I mean, there's good people out there. I'm trying to connect with good people in life, and if you're not a good person, I don't have any use for you in my life. So that's just what it is. Scott and these folks, they're good people. I like working with them. That's why I continue to work with them. Now, is he a good person? He's very creative and fun to work with. So there's that. Anyhow, I'm getting off topic. But yeah, so I added the Soothe 2, and then there's a side chain going to another thing, a Soothe for the rhythm guitars. I did this yesterday before I went to bed. So when a rhythm guitar section comes in, instead of volume automating it down, that's a common thing. Volume automate down the rhythms, a dB or whatever. Which I don't like doing that because I can always tell. A lot of people say they can't, but I can. I'd rather do a little bit of dynamic soothe effect to bring down only the midsection, since these leads are living in mostly the mids. Yes, they have a pan going left to right, just very slightly, but the majority of it is living in the mids. And I want the width and the power of the width of the rhythm guitar to stay prevalent. So technically they sound a little wider and like as if they move out of the way for the leads in the mids. So I have this Soothe doing its thing there, and I'm going to demonstrate that on and off. That was on. Here it goes with it off. So it's not dipping in mid-side mode the mids down a little bit in the areas where the notes reside with the lead. I don't know how it's going through on YouTube and if you can hear it, but I can hear that it's just fighting in the mid of the stereo field. It's just fighting for that lead to live, and I don't want to do the volume thing there for space. I like the power of it, but with this on, it just dips it just enough so it can live without boosting it and blowing up the stereo. Now I may go through and do some slight volume automations on my board here in a bit, but I mean slight, like tenths of a decibel here and there for guitar sections, and the vocals I'll probably get a little bit more pushy and pulley on, but with the faders. But yeah, so I'm gonna turn it back on so you can hear the difference on and off as it plays. I don't know how it's
change them.
Now, I kept some of these things raw. The majority of these vocals were recorded by Homeboy at his house, which I've, gave him the template to kind of record things into and taught him for the last, 10 years of how to go about recording into that template and, how to set proper levels and all that good stuff. He's gotten really good. And then his buddy, when he came over, was it 2 weeks ago, he did some MIDI drum takes to implement into the song, and he did some vocals as well. There's a lot of screams. It sounds like almost one scream, which is kind of the intention behind that, just one monstrous scream, but it's several. And his buddy added in some layers too, so I'm going to show that. It's Adam, who's the drummer, did these screams here, though I have fading in to kind of, because I felt like it was getting weaker as it went, and his screams kind of emphasized the end with some effect, so I'm going to show that. He also did a high one. I'll show that separately as well. Yeah, I noticed the issue needed edited there at that high scream. Hold up. Got it good enough. Then I joke and call those type of screams Cookie Monster screams. So he sent me some dubs to add in 2 weeks ago. Scott himself. So here's his Cookie Monster dubs. Of course, they're heavily distorted. Not very many effects though, just Red 2 distortion. That's all I did to it, some filtering. And some analog delay. Boom, that's it. There's that main throaty type of a Cookie Monster scream that's prominent in the mix. Then I think he had some higher screams that are tucked in. So all together. So here's the effect chain that he was leaning on. Nope, that's not it. Is this one it? Nope. Maybe this is it. That is it. Okay, here's the effect chain. I've added some Shep 73 and a few changes, but this is what he was leaning on, which was a Nectar thing throughout most of the song, actually. Had some delay built in and all that, and I added some sends of extra delay to kind of give it more movement as if it's in a space and not just kind of mono. So
change this, stuck in this hole that I've dug, can't wish this away. Change this, stuck in this hole that I've dug, can't wish this away. I know that I'll never change this.
And this week I wanted to, well, I sent the mix to him and he felt like it wasn't cutting through the mix right, and I you know, if you just turn it up it would just become harsh. So it's not as simple as just turning it up. I was like, well, if I use another effect chain that I use for that particular mic in a fashion to tuck it in and also send a chorus delay and a chorus effect, which this is a Dr. Bob effect send with a bunch of doublers and a different, as you'll see here, I have them split. So they're doing a different doubling effect at different harmonies. Long story short, it creates like a smooth pop type of thing. So that's tucked in as well. So there's one channel. So I did a parallel of this with that and these other effects, which I'm not sure if they're set to solo together. They may be. Let's see. But together, this is what it sounds like.
In this hole that I've dug, can't wish this away.
I'm going to turn it on and off so you can hear.
In this hole that I've dug, can't wish this away. I know that I'll never change this. Stuck in this hole that I've dug, can't wish this away. I know that I'll never change this.
Together in a mix, it makes a big difference. So I'm going to play it in the context of the mix. Same with this other section. I paralleled it. Paralleled this yesterday. I felt like it would help the bridge of the song, but I did automate the levels for these effects to change throughout. So there's automation of it. So here, I'll just play it. So it's like a clean, highly compressed parallel that's sitting under the main mid-focused, delayed room type of phone effect thing. That's the focus of the main vocals of the song. It's sitting underneath it to complement it and give it some more body back, but yet not really change the intent of the effect. So Here's that.
That you needed me to dig this hole I won't escape. I know my fate is sealed, so I can plain goodbye.
I like that white to kind of. I like showing these little, inside things in the mix and hearing things I can improve upon. So that word white needs to be extended on the delay there that I automated. A lot of these moves got to be like gut moves in the moment. And as you can see, the automation is kind of jagged. I like to go through and make those a little smoother as well.
I know my fate is sealed, so I can play.
Just get rid of those kind of unnatural jagged moves because, it's not how I was moving the mouse. Could have used the faders on that. Probably should have. But yeah, here we go.
I won't escape. I know my fate is sealed, so I can plain goodbye.
The T of white's cut off. I need to fix that. Probably need to get rid of one more. Yeah.
I won't escape. I know my fate is sealed, so I can plain goodbye.
That ending guitar at the left needs to fade out a little bit. Let's address that. just slightly more aggressively than I guessed. It needs to fade out. It's about there. All right, well, I think it's ready for a morning mix down to send to some band members and hopefully get them on this live stream. I'll just keep it up all day and keep it rocking and rolling unless it cuts out, then I'll restart it. Or maybe I'll just mix it down and restart it. I don't know. That might be a better course of action. But I'm pretty satisfied overall with the mix as of now. I've been in here for longer than this stream, probably about 2 hours now. I probably need to get a fresh perspective and see what the guys got to say and come back later and also test it on different systems and make sure it's golden. It should be about the same as it was last night with slight changes, so I'm sure it'll be good. So I'll go ahead and mix this down. I don't know. I might just leave the stream up. I don't know. How long are we running now? Just say on OBS. I'm still learning OBS. I need to spend more time paying attention to this. There is some things I need to learn about OBS. I haven't quite figured out like how to stream in multiple places. I think you got to get some plugin or some weird shit. I ain't figured that out yet for OBS. And okay, it says 44 minutes. I mean, that's a good length of a stream, I guess. That's not overkill like I usually go on little details. So maybe I'll give this I don't know. If it's just sitting here blank, it's kind of a waste. I'll at least stay on and listen to the mix down and analyze it. And I guess I'll analyze it over in RX and see what it's got to say about the mix once it's done, and then get off here. But yeah, anybody got any comments? I see there's some people on there. Let me pull up. That's another thing about OBS. How can I set up to read comments and stuff? Somebody comment and tell me, how do I set up OBS to see my YouTube comments and all that? I see people with more intricate OBS setups. I don't know how to get there. I'm just kind of ignorant to the whole OBS thing still. I can get up and stream, and that's about it. It's about all I can accomplish. So yeah, let's look up, I guess, my YouTube live stream. There we go. There it is. Still, only one watching. Stream, and that's about it. It's about all I can. All right. So, I mean, at least it's got some likes. That's cool, I guess. But I don't see any comments. Leave some comments, fuckers. Come on now. Somebody say something. See, it's just kind of pointless just to keep it on all day. I mean. This dead ass channel ain't gonna really receive any input, really. Yeah, I got my quality low for got the quality low for when I'm tethered to my phone on the road in the truck, so I'm not using too much data, falling asleep to YouTube. That's what I do. Just let YouTube play. Live chat. There's nothing going on over there. There's just nothing. So it's kind of pointless. Okay. Yeah, I'll test the mix and get off here. Once it's done mixing down. Oh, there you go. Got a comment. Look at that. Good morning. I don't have or know how to YouTube channel. If I did, it help you out, man. Okay, right on. Yeah, I don't know how to the OBS stuff. There's just a lot there I need to dive into. Just started watching about 5 minutes ago, working on my first cup of coffee. Sounded good what I heard though. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Cajun Cracker Ranch. Yeah, this song should be out 21st. So I hope to upload a master, mix down from the mix bus side of this mix, go into a mastering suite side of things, and maybe address some sonic quality there, just slight changes, nothing major. Start off with the same mastering chain I have here and just add what needs to be added and subtract what needs to be subtracted. Kind of ordeal, but I appreciate you listening, man. Commenting, Look for this to be released the 21st. And we're going to have a release for Better Off Blind just about monthly for the rest of the year. So he's got about 20 songs ready to rock and roll. And, some just waiting for some extra vocal takes or better vocal takes other than the demo vocal takes, and for me to mix and master them. So we are going to be rocking and rolling the rest of the year after this release. We already have another one pretty much done, waiting on a female vocalist to come in and do her part, so as a guest vocalist thing. All right, I'm going to test this in RX, let the mix play, and then get off here. Again, man, I appreciate the comment, dude. Yep. RX. Open that up while it's opening so it don't bug out. Let's turn off this mastering chain so the CPU gets a break. Hit save the session. Minimize this out. Oh, don't bug out. All right, don't do it. Okay, it's RX. Pulling that mix. See what the stats on it are. Waveform stats. I got a half decibel of headroom as intended, and a lot of people try to aim for a full decibel. I'm happy with the half decibel. I mean, CD was 0.3 of a dB was the standard for a long time for headroom on CDs, for just enough headroom for cheap converters to not bug out and clip strangely. I'm going a little bit further than that for today's world of converting to MP3 or MP4 for streaming and all that, but that's all I'm willing to sacrifice on my peaks. But yeah, man, I got some loud parts in the song, which some people have commented against, but I like loud mixes, dude. I mean, if the streaming service is going to turn it down, whatever, as long as I get the tone and the intention of the mix, I'm going to do my thing as if it's still CD quality for stereo mixes. We are going to do some Atmos mixes here this year on a few select songs. I've learned a lot. I've released a few things in Atmos, and I've learned a lot from that experience, only on headphones, but I gotta do stuff to get better. And with rock mixes, it's really an open opportunity because there's not very many to choose from. And on those playlists for Atmos rock and metal, and in this case a grunge rock thing, alternative grunge, there's not very much competition because not many people are doing it, because it's very hard to make a rock mix work in Atmos, because I think people are, from what I've learned, this is my opinion, I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but I believe it is. There's an Atmos you have for binaural rendering of Atmos, which is for the headphone experience, which is 99% of the people that are hearing Atmos in headphones. When they add binaural effects, there's a room added to things, and if you use that room on just about everything, to me it just sounds like trash. And especially when you go to Apple Music and it converts to Apple Music standards of how to treat the binaural and apply its room effect, it's just unpredictable and it sounds like trash. So I've learned to just turn all that off. Just make the mix with the audio and not the extra binaural room effect. It's still binaural. It's just not with an additional room. Like, I think that's what's screwing a lot of people. So that's just my opinion. I don't know if anybody knows anything about Atmos mixing that watches this and has made it this far, which I highly, highly doubt that happens. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's my opinion. So yeah, integrate a loudest to 7.1 since we have some, quiet. Let's just select the loud section, see what the loud section's saying. Loud as shit. Minus 5.8, this is as loud as I can get the mix. Like I can't go any louder than this without it falling apart. Minus 6 for the end. I like it without vocals. I like that. It's slamming, bro. It's slamming. Let's play it and call it a day and get off this stream, and maybe I'll continue with a part 2 later today after I get feedback from the guys and the project. So I'm gonna hit play and get off here. Appreciate anybody that came in, said anything. Feel free to leave a comment on the video of this when it's released. I'll reply to it when I get a moment to check it out. But yeah, I'm gonna hit play and get off here. All right, I'm gonna got the dogs in here now. I'm gonna reply to a few comments I got that I noticed. My YouTube abilities are kind of shit, so I need to get better at this. I replied to Robert Brown. I should have used the @ but I appreciate you wanting to donate to Cash App. I sent you a comment with my Cash App profile. You don't have to do that though, man. I just appreciate if you listen to the music, add it to your library, and stop in every once in a while, give me a comment, what your thoughts on the mix and all that. That's what I'm on here for, man, just to interact. I appreciate the willing to donate though. That's not my motivation. And to Cajun Cracker Ranch, I'm currently recording 12-song project. I have Logic Pro recording and playing all instruments, no problem. Mixing and mastering is a problem for me. Things get muddy and the good stuff gets buried. Well, Cajun, ask me a question, man. Go ahead and shoot me something. Sorry for the dogs in here walking around, circling me like circling a wagon, wanting my attention. But I got 25 years of experience, dude. I started off when I was 15, bought my first computer after detasseling corn one summer, and had a buddy, was able to pirate some software back then, hook me up. I was on a Cool Edit Pro before it was Adobe Audition back in the day, and I've dabbled in a bunch of different DAWs in that time. Long story short, mixing and mastering. Oh, yeah. There is some golden rules that a lot of people will say on YouTube that I find is pretty important, like don't mix and solo, but you do need to solo to kind of, clean up things, and there's some concepts you're going to have to learn from mixing and mastering. Low pass and high pass are your friend. A lot of people say, do that on a mix bus. I find that mixing into a mix bus is a dual-edged sword on a lot of YouTube channels who promote that. I do use mix bus things, but I have my own theory on how to go about things, my own template that I've developed over years of trial and error, man. And there's this trial and error to it, and there's a learning curve to it. But yeah, low pass and high pass I'd say on the instrument level. I believe in bottom up mixing more than top down mixing, although they both have their place. And I believe in what I'd like to call transparent to ear type of mixing and mastering, where, okay, so for volume, since you brought that up, I'll go ahead and I'll try to help you out, man. Maybe this will help you, maybe it won't. I believe a lot of people will frown upon it, but I don't care because it works for me, and it's worked very well for me over the last several years, and I've gotten better and better since I've implemented my own method for addressing gain staging. So it becomes natural, and I don't even think about it. And I do reference mixes. I have on Studio One, you have a listen bus, which would be like a post effect, I guess, maybe on Logic. You can use it. I have post as well, my main here, but I can reference mixes through this AB Metric plugin, which I have some select songs like I like to just check for just about everything I do. Sometimes I'll need to pull something different here for a closer reference that somebody's wanting to get closer to, but this is my main preset that I've set up for this. I like Narcissistic Cannibal from Korn in there. What We Do from Korn, Mass Hysteria from Korn. I like a lot of Korn references, and their albums are different, but I just like them for reference. I really like how their drums pop in the last 10-15 years of Korn stuff. Sriracha, Tech 9, Poison the Whale, Tech 9, Astronaut in the Ocean, Masked Wolf or whatever his name is, more Tech 9 stuff. Death of Peace of Mind. Yeah. Polyphia stuff, and yeah. So I got some stuff in here. Then these mixes here. What are they called? I can't remember the damn band name right now. Fuck. But yeah, you just get your references of things you like, And I know Ozone has a reference ability as well, but in your DAW you can just set up tracks to bypass. Like if you're using your main bus for all your mastering purposes, I'd suggest setting up a bus before it to do that, and just leave your main bus clean. Since if you don't have a listen bus in Logic, I don't think you do. I haven't been on Logic in many years. I've only played with Logic, honestly. I've never been serious in Logic. I'm on PC, and I've been on PC. I am planning on going to Mac next year. But point being, if you get everything processed before your main's open, you can then send a reference tracks routed to it and leave them at 0. Everything, Well, actually, if I'm going to teach you this, you're going to have to compensate for it. But I'm struggling to explain this here. But yeah, you want to make sure everything's the intended gain at the end of the day. Now, what I've been doing, and then you want to reference your mix and go back and forth, and this is how you're going to have to learn. High pass, low pass, all your friends on instruments, getting rid of the mud and the harshness, and then learn to dial in EQ, and if you have resonant issues, address them, and also don't overcook things. Especially, and I also would say don't lean too much on just one plugin for compression or saturation. It should be a series of things, because too much aggressive processing on just one thing just sounds unnatural. So that's as simple as I can put it. Back to what I do. So what I've developed, which is unlike anybody I've seen, is I crank my main up, my main fader at +10, and I have this post is just for streaming. I don't use post fader. I use pre-fader effects. So on my main bus for master output or a pseudo master in Ozone, let's just pull that up for an example, just to try to keep it simple. As you'll see on my maximizer, my ceiling is then compensated for that +10 to be 10 minus 5.5 minus 10.5. So that means that my ceiling is actually 0.5. And I adjust down my threshold accordingly to make up for perceived loss gain from between on and off. So my transparent method is when I turn this on and off, which right now this mix is nearing the end, it may glitch out. Let's just show it real quick. So I'm gonna turn it on and off and hit play on a loud section. Hopefully it doesn't glitch out. Oops, don't want to get demonetized, even though I'm not monetized, but I don't want to ruin my eligibility. I had my my reference on. Okay, let's try this again. Yeah, there becomes a point in the mix where with my computer, that just has to go off. But the thing is, it doesn't sound different. There's a point in the mix where I have too much processing to do all that. So, but I start off with it. So for when I get to a certain point, it's just for mix down. And I already know from years of testing this chain that on and off that I've made, it sounds transparent. It just adds density and keeps things tight, and it doesn't really change the intention. So that's my philosophy, is to do things that will help the intention of the individual tracks from the bottom up. Then it's top down. So it's bottom up first, top down second. So I could turn off all of these now. I got to turn this on so I don't clip for YouTube, which that doesn't really do much but hit peaks. But if I turn off so I have several buses and stages. I can bypass things and all that. So starting from my API bus, that's drums and bass. I like the API 2500 to control those. Then that feeds into this SSL based thing, and I got a little bit of Ozone dynamic thing, just catching the slightest peaks. It's kind of a fail safe more than really doing much. But yeah, just a slight two bus compression. So I'll turn it on and show. see what I mean? It's subtle. I'll do it again. See, on and off, it's just doing what I intended to do. It's just adding a little bit of density, a little bit of a high-end control and transformer density. It's very slight. It's not heavy-handed. And that's where I have guitar feeding into, which I may not. I don't think this mix the guitar goes there. Let's see. Yeah, in this particular mix, I decided that the guitar sounds better to come in after at the L bus. So I have a L2, simple L2, just getting the peaks before it hits a clipper here in a bit. So on and off, it's the same type of effect. It's very slight. It's just meant for control, not for heavy-handedness. And then at the clipping bus, now I do love this SPL iron. It is adding a thing of weight, body, and low end. It's one of my favorite plugins that feeds into Flatline. And again, I have a SSL based 2-bus compressor. Now, at this stage, and this is, my template, at this stage, I feel like a little bit of mid, focus and density is lost. And I like this Saturn II warm tube to kind of hit the mix, everything but the vocals. And that's another thing. There's a lot of, this is kind of industry wide as well with vocals. A lot of people treat the instrument, mixing and mix bus separate from a vocal mix bus and merge them together in their own mix bus. But I follow that train of thought. I like to keep vocals as its own mix outside of the mix of audio and then merge them together, sum them together to make it work. So here, as you'll see, it's just all instruments, and I like this Saturn warm tube, just all the way across the way. I started off with this Fat Tape and Comp BM preset for that, and I have it mixed in slightly. It's anywhere mixed. It's mix dependent, but from any mix, it's 15 to like 25%. I have this thing dialed in. It's just touching it enough so the aggressiveness of guitar or heavy synth is brought back into the mix as intended. So I'll turn it off to start, and I'll turn it back on as it plays. So that's the majority of that. And then I was playing around some months back, and I've put this into my mix bus game. I was just experimenting around with just some random compressors I rarely ever use. I've never used it until now, but I seen this had a master bus effect, and then I just played with it, man. And I really like it. Is like a really aggressive sharp threshold type of a soft or hard knee. That's the word I'm looking for. It's like a hard knee type of effect. You really can't see what's going on underneath it, but this adds some grit with how it compresses, and you have some low, mids, and highs control, which you can tweak to compensate for the loss of perceived intention going into it. Now, there's select bands, you can't change them, but I really like this thing, and I've just been using it, and it's been suiting me well. It's old as hell, Tony Maserati compressor. I just like it at the end of everything. It just does a thing, man. So, like I said, it takes years of trial and error, and you got to find what fits you. One size is just not going to fit all. You can try to copy somebody else's style, my style, anybody's style of mixing, and really just going to have to make sense to you in philosophy. So my philosophy, again, is to turn up the main output, have a reference. So if you have a reference in your mix going to your main, you're going to have to turn that mix down -10 dB to play at intended mastering level. And then I just check it there at that level. And so I have references, and I don't go in blind and without a compass, so to speak. A reference is a compass to mixing and mastering. And then you adjust things, I believe. I mean, despite all I'm doing here, which you turn it all off, again, it doesn't really change a whole lot. It just does the job of controlling dynamics and adding density. So everything off. So what's changed with everything off? Well, there's a far more dynamics going on, right? More than what you'd want. Now, that's where top down comes in. So, you start off a mix, and I believe work bottom up, get as good as you can from the individual track standpoint, and maybe your bus, maybe you have some parallel drum saturation, all that. You try to just get everything dialed in as good as you can at the individual track level. And if you have a +10 fader, that will force you on the individual track level to not push anything too hard. Like, I don't push anything hard. Nothing's near clipping in my entire mix. I'll play it. The entire drum set is pretty loud, but it's not clipping. So yeah, everything's kind of gain stages itself that way intuitively, and the L2 is controlling those peaks a lot on the snare hit and all the transits of the drums before it gets clipped, so it's not overtly clipped on a soft clip setting. I don't have a hard knee, I have a soft knee on clipping. Anyhow, I'm saying a lot of things that you may or may not know. I don't know, but yeah, so start off where it sounds right to you on an individual track level, then maybe implement some mix bus techniques, some like SSL basic type of mix bus things to slightly glue things together and control some dynamics. Implement a low CPU usage type of maximizer to control levels more, and then you'll find that you can push things a little further. So then that's where top down comes into play for me, and I'll push into things like that snare. I had to push into it to get the pop and the weight to it that I was intuitively looking for. But yeah, that's just an overview of my philosophy of mixing and mastering, and I've set it up in a way for myself. It just feels intuitive, and I don't have to go too crazy with it. Now, once the song's almost done and I mix it down, this mix bus, which is empty, I call it the mix bus, but there's nothing on it because that's where everything resides that may have bypassed some of these processes. Some things just I don't want processed at all. So, and the way I set things up, that just gives me the option to route accordingly how I want to route things. So I'll render out the song at 0 through the mix bus, and I'll go into a mastering phase, and I'll pull in this chain here I know is transparent, or what I call transparent to ear for me, and then I will carve things out and adjust things accordingly for mixing and mastering for release. So I don't know if any of that helped you, or if that just sounded like a bunch of psychobabble. I'm new to trying to help anybody online, but that's an overview of my philosophy. Is get it right at the source. Don't try to find gain at the source. Just crank up your fucking main and maybe have a post fader limiter just to keep things from peaking and clipping. If you hear clipping, most of the time you don't hear clipping unless you have superhuman ears. And honestly, I bet I can do a test to prove that people can't tell if something's clipping or not. And I mean, there's a point where it becomes apparent, but a lot of times little clips here and there, 3-4 decibel clips, you're not going to hear it if you have decent converters. And most interfaces and things for pro audio nowadays are good enough. You just don't hear them shit out as easy on the D to A, the digital to analog. Now, analog to digital, you will hear that shit, but D to A is not. It's pretty good nowadays. So anyhow, yeah, you can just turn up that's where you get your volume, just right there, boom. And the reason I do that instead of just cranking it up like traditionally, cranking it up here, is that I could turn it on and off, and the parent volume doesn't change. I just get my parent volume from that, and this is where I make sure things don't actually clip on a mix down, and it's good. So I know that's an oddball way of working, but it suits me well, and that's how I'm going to continue to work. Anyhow, I hope maybe some of that helped you, even though it probably sounds psychotic trying to explain. Let's see if you said anything. God particle. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of the God particle. I don't know, man. The all-in-one things that I've tried over the years, again, just kind of, I don't like things that change my intention. That's why I've customized my own way of working. I like to have control over the intention of what I'm aiming for. Max Wolf says I was FL audition for years. I was actually in that too in the early 2000s, bro. I had a little experience with Cubase. Me too. I had Cubase LE, came with one of my interfaces back in the day, and it was unstable, so I never really got too into it. Also got a Studio One version 1 when it first came out, and I didn't like it then because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand, like, why can't I not pull in my plugins, bro? that was my mindset. I was like, oh, cool, drag and drop. It records easy, cool. And then I was like, oh, I can't use my plugins. And I just dismissed it. And I went on to Pro Tools, and Pro Tools was never stable for me on Windows, and it was always a pain in the ass. I mean, I can use Pro Tools, and I'm sufficient with it, but hell, I haven't opened it in over a year. I have Pro Tools somewhere on here. Let's see. Close all this out. Where's my Pro Tools? I literally haven't opened it in over a year. There it is. Wonder if it's going to open or if it's going to kill this stream. I don't know. Let's see. It might just kill the stream because it's a pain in the ass. Probably should close Studio One because it likes to control your freaking audio device completely, then crash out whenever it feels like it, pretty much, because it's garbage. My stream's still going. Did it die? Nope, it's still going. We're good. Pro Tools opening. Yep. It takes forever also to load through plugins and wants to tell you what's, not going to work and all that junk. So yeah. Anyhow, yeah, Pro Tools, pain in the ass. I've used it here and there on some sessions sent to me from other people and all that. And I mean, it's very flexible. It's just hard to set up, Pro Tools. But anyhow, back to your comment. Yeah, Studio One's awesome. You switch Studio One, really good so far. Learning it. Yeah, it's really intuitive. I agree, Max Wolf. I agree. Yeah, back to the God particle, man. I haven't tried it. I've seen people try it. I've watched a bunch of videos on it. It sounds good. It sounds a lot like my Ozone setup that I've set up for myself in my mix bus. It does a lot of the same things. I got multi-band in there, and saturation, and multi-band compression, and I don't know if it's something for me or not. I like the way I have things set up. But I mean, go ahead and give it a try. If you don't have Ozone, 10 or any Ozone, give that a try, dude. Put that on your mix bus, mix into it, and see what that gets you. And and learn from it. If I don't know about, I don't seem like it has very many adjustments in it, but play with it, see where it breaks and where it does, where it complements things. You just got to experiment. Can I get your email? Yeah, you could send me an email, sentient@gmail.com, bro. Or you can send it to, my other email is just so full, I'll just miss it. But for this, sentient, just like my channel name, @gmail.com. Email me, bro. I'll add you to my list. I use Ableton 12 on a MacBook Pro M3. I want to get that M4, bro. I've never had a Mac, but I'm looking forward to Apollo Twin X interface. Yeah, the Apollo interfaces are cool. I like this Studio Live board because it does a lot of those things. It has compression and all that stuff on it. My mic I'm speaking to on right now is going through it with compression. It's a talkback input, but that way I have things compressed and don't have to worry about it. And I like to monitor people in my mic booth through it. It's it has reverb sends and delay sends, and I can use it at 1176 and all that stuff. But yeah, the Apollo's cool, man. 9 Inch Nails, big 9 Inch Nails fan growing up most of my life. That's what got me into music production. I heard The Perfect Drug when I was 13 or 14. I was like, whoa, how's that made? That song still to this day, production wise, is a masterpiece of production, and it captured my young imagination, and that's what got me into music production. That song right there, I just had to know. But yeah, I think I'm caught up on comments. I appreciate everybody's comments, man. I was about to get off here. But yeah, you got it. Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, just... Okay. Yeah, I see. Yeah, man. Give my method a try if you want to. I don't know if it's for everybody. It's for me, but I've tried a lot of things. I've been on YouTube for a long time. I've followed YouTube for a long time. I still catch tips and tricks from people, and I'll implement it and see how it works for me, and where it doesn't, then I'll see where their method may break or complement something I'm working on, and I just store it in my head and pull it up when it suits me. Like earlier in this stream, I was talking about that vocal getting chorus effects. I call it the Dr. Bob chorus effects because there's a Dr. Bob YouTube on here, and he was showing how to do that effect. I did it different than him. He was just duplicating the track over and over again and applying the effect, and I just created a send preset of that same process. And Studio One allows you to split the signal and do parallel things within the same track. And I just made it where it's worked as an effect send, and I added some saturation, some other effects to it, and I kind of stole that idea and worked, and expanded upon it. Like, there's nothing wrong with learning something from somebody else, applying it to what you do, and seeing if it works or not, and seeing if you can improve it or not. That's the beauty of music production. You can go 1,000 different ways to accomplish the same thing or a similar thing that you're aiming for. So, hey, I don't want to open a session, bro, do I? It'll probably crash out. Let's see what... Pro Tools always just gives me issues, man. We'll open a session. Screw it. Oh, yeah, it's set at 44.1 because I was on a different interface in my truck last time I had it open, so it's going to be a big pain in the ass I don't want to deal with. So, no. That's what I mean by Pro Tools, man. Like, I can go in Studio One. I can go for my truck and a different interface, and once you used it once, it remembers it and opens up the same settings, and it just works. It ain't a fucking pain in the ass. Dude, I don't want Sound ID on, bro. I'll not even tell that to open. Go away. Pro Tools, man. dude, it's just always been trash, man. Always been trash. Unless you got a setup you never change, never update your OS, it's trash, man. If you're in a commercial studio, cool. I mean, if you have a Pro Tools HD system and you never update your OS, it could be really cool. I could see the benefit of it. I could see it being awesome for, applying real-time effects with plugins that, are offloaded from your DAW, and I could see it being awesome. But for us home studio folks, man, it's just trash. You got to be a masochist to love Pro Tools. I appreciate that, man. I thought maybe people would probably, reject if I explained how I like to go about mixing and mastering. Would say, oh, that's wrong because, you got your bus at +10, bro, and just use your maximizer like everybody else and then get your volume after the fact. But, with the Fletcher Munson curve in people's ear and my ear and everybody, I want to get that volume right out the gate. Like, just give me that volume and let me mix to that where I'm aiming for. And I know then you intuitively just pull things down. You don't overprocess things, and you hear things on a level playing field, and then you can reference on a level playing field. And to me, it makes sense. And that's how I like to work. I appreciate that, man. For real. All right, man. Well, I'm glad people came to this live stream. I didn't anticipate people getting on and commenting after I yelled people to fucking comment, because I usually get on here and stream and I don't get any play. So I really appreciate it. This song is going to come out the 21st this month, and like I said, we're going to be releasing something every month. And I'd appreciate if everybody followed me on Facebook. I do have a Facebook page that's been kind of dead for a while. Better off just follow the band. Follow me. Look up Better Off Blind on Facebook. They might have, I don't know if they have Instagram or not, but here it is. That's Better Off Blind. Follow Homeboys, and look for what we're releasing the rest of the year. I'd really appreciate that. Opposed to donations, I just appreciate the art, getting appreciated by others. That's really what I'm in it for. So I'm gonna give my dog attention. She keeps pulling at me, wanting my attention. I'm gonna hop off here. I really appreciate everybody coming on today. I'll see y'all next time. Have a good one.